seconds.
Is this where the damn drumming and the music kicks in?
Yeah.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of On the Pipe Podcast. Today is Wednesday, August the 10th, 2022, years after zero, and I'm your host, as always, Tyler Shepherdson, and this is On the Pipe Podcast. Just wanted to pop on here and kind of give everyone an update. I will give you a little bit of a warning that this isn't going to be a very long one. There's not a whole lot to talk about. So that's why I wanted to come on here. Obviously, we took a week off last week, and then this week kind of try to line some things up, but I'm on a bit of a vacation myself. It's been a while since I went and did anything, so I kind of took off and hit the Midwest. Was in Chicago for the majority of the week. I drove up to Green Bay, Wisconsin today. I am actually currently stuck in traffic driving back from Green Bay, Wisconsin, back to Chicago. So that is what I've been doing. Just kind of trying to get everything put together, figure out what's going on, where we're at, what direction we're going, and how everything ties into it. Obviously, there has not been an announcement of what we are up to or what Up to Something season may consist of. So a big part of this was kind of a little bit of a mental vacation to hit the road and think about some things, get some time away from the norm, and just really figure out where we're at and where we go from here. Now, there's two drastic directions that OTP can go in from this point. And while I have not completely made that decision, one way is going to be very, very exciting, and the other way might not be that exciting. Might actually be a little bit disappointing. No, we should be all systems a go, but like I said, really just wanted to come on here, give an update. There's been a little bit of racing going on. Cooper Webb went up, raced a J-Day, so he's continuing to dabble in a little bit of the off-road stuff, but it's cool to see him going around and kind of getting back to his roots and finding the fun in riding a dirt bike again. Obviously, we just came off a big week of Loretta Lynn's, a lot of off-road people that went up there and raced in that. Shout out Corey Steed for one. She ended up 4th place overall. I think went 5.35 on the week, so got on the podium in one of the motos and ended up 4th place overall, just off of the overall podium, which is pretty badass. Corey grew up racing racing motocross and going to Loretta's and battling out, and tried to go back and do that again this year and put out a good showing for sure. So that was cool. Also, my buddy and good friend of the show, Dustin Simpson, Destruction D, he went out there and raced at Loretta's in the plus 30 class. So that was cool. Then a couple more off-roaders. Shelby Rowland, she was out there racing, who we know she came from a moto background as well, but then has been racing off-road the past several years. Preston Rains, a WXC competitor, she was out there racing Loretta's in that WMX class. Her dad, Jason Rains, who's been on the show before, he's a good friend of the show as well, he was out there racing as well. So a lot of off-road representation. I apologize if I'm missing people that were out there racing, but those are the ones off the top of my head. But other than that, there really hasn't been a whole lot to talk about. Last week had a couple shows lined up, had a couple people fall out, so I ended up not doing the show. But next week, planning to get back on track Mondays and Tuesdays. We just got to line people up, and I think we just got to make the show live, so that way everyone knows, hey, it's happening these days, these times. If you want to be on it, cool. If you can't make that time work, cool. but then it'll give you guys a little bit more consistency as far as when you can expect the show, because I know a lot of people have reached out to me, especially last week, kind of missing a week. But like I said, it is summer break. There's not a whole lot going on. And then this week, I apologize, this is a bit of a short one, but just kind of getting into a couple things here, and then planning to pick it up. So next weekend we go back Mid-East racing. This weekend, and actually tomorrow, kicks it off, the World Hard Enduro Championship down at the Trials Training Center. The TKO Enduro, that's going to be going on this weekend, but tomorrow they're racing down Broadway Street in downtown Nashville. So my plan is to head from Chicago down to Nashville tomorrow, and I will be there. And where I go from there, I haven't quite made up my mind yet, but we got that going on, so we'll be able to talk about that. Maybe get some interviews from some people that are racing this weekend. And then next weekend, I know we go back Mid-East Hare Scramble Racing, which I do believe that I will be announcing the rest of those races for the season. So I'll be on the mic kind of chopping it up if you are a local Mid-East racer. I know we got a lot of them on here, so hopefully we can get some people from Mid-East, some locals, some amateurs, get them on the show, get talking to them, see what's going on. And then after that, I think we're right back in the mix. We got Beckley. The ISDE is going to be coming up pretty quick. So we are almost all set to get back on track, and then we will resume programming as usual. I want to give you guys some more updates about Up to Something season, but I will have you know this week I have been communicating with the powers that be, with the things that need to happen to put it in place. So the ball is in motion. We are rolling, and hopefully we will be able to let you know what's not a lot. Some people know what it is already. It's turned into a logistical nightmare. So really trying to get all those details out before just announce it to the world. I'd rather announce it with a plan than announce it with an idea and not have a plan. So that is where we are at on that. But it is silly season. We got a lot of stuff going on. We got a lot of rumors out there in the rumor mill about who's going where and who's doing what. So before we get into that, I want to thank, of course, Beta Motorcycles. Beta Motorcycles, as you all know, is the official manufacturer of On the Pipe podcast. Beta Motorcycles has been family owned and operated since 1905. They manufacture the finest enduro, trials, and dual sport motorcycles that are known for their premium quality and rideability. Beta Motorcycles are the best looking bikes on the market, and they back it up with their superior performance. Head over to betausa.com for more information on their available models, or to find a dealer near you to get yours today. So big shout out to Beta Motorcycles. We're going to see some Beta Motorcycles handling business at the TKO this weekend. And we might even see some heavy hitters on Beta Motorcycles. We already got a couple heavy hitters. We already got an XC1 champion over here in the Full Gas Enduro Series. That Full Gas Sprint Enduro Series that's wrapping up championships. We got championships getting wrapped up out on the West Coast on Beta Motorcycles. So I encourage you to go to betausa.com and learn more about these motorcycles and why everybody loves them so much. And trust me, there are a lot of reasons to do so. This episode is also brought to you in part by Zach Tussle at Raymond James Financial. Zach is a racer and a financial advisor that helps his clients win when it comes to retirement and financial planning. If you or someone you know wants to save and invest for your future, or is already retired and needs advice for income during retirement, Zach Tussle is always my first recommendation. Find out more by Googling Zach Tussle or on their website at financialadvisorsdenvernc.com. And I will say, I've had a lot of people that have said, oh, I need to get a hold of Zach. Oh, I need to get a hold of Zach. Oh, and I've been meaning to give him a call. There is no better time than right now to reach out to Zach and figure out your financial future or financial planning and how he can be of assistance for that. You don't need $1 million to get started. All you need is to reach out, learn a little bit more about it, and then trust that you're in good hands with Zach Tussle. He is the guy that all the riders that I know of go to and refer as well. And, of course, we refer him as well. So check him out, Zach Tussle financial advisors, denvernc.com. Now, let's get into a little bit of silly season. Now, I want to preface this. I think I say this every year, but I want to preface this. This is not the gospel. This is not signed contracts that I'm photocopying and reading off to you. This is simply what I have been hearing through various sources throughout the off-road world. So all of it is subject to change. All of it could be made up, but most of it I feel pretty confident about. As you guys also know, and I talk about it a lot on here, I tend to not reveal information on here unless I double check or triple check or hear it from multiple sources or hear it from a very, very reliable source. I don't want to get into the business of misinformation. That's not what we are. That's not what we're trying to be. So keep in mind, these are the things that I've been hearing. I will say, if you are a longtime listener of the show, we are at 5 years now, 5 years of OTP. And if you are a longtime listener of the show, I'm pretty sure I can't think of one glaring team change that we've announced that ended up not coming to fruition that I can think of. So take that for what you will. Once again, this is just what I've been hearing. Not saying it's the truth, not saying contracts are signed, just saying what I've been hearing. I think there's going to be a lot of shakeups because as much as I have been hearing, there's also a lot that is still up in the air. And it seems like this has been a contract year for a lot of folks, meaning it seems like a lot of people's deals were up this year. And I know some people are signed through next year. I know some people have signed a new deal to carry them in the next year or next several years. In Ben Kelly's case, I think he signed through the next 3 seasons with KTM. So there is going to be obviously some people staying the same, but I think there's also going to be a lot of changes as well. One of the big ones that I have been hearing is that new father and New England Ripper. What is this person doing? Multitasking. Sorry. Johnny Gerard, Johnny G, the U.S. Sprint Enduro Pro 2 champion, the XC2 champion of last year, the guy that has won every race that he's entered since coming off of a surgery and a broken pelvis this year. Everything I'm hearing says that he is going to be going XC1 for the Red Bull FMF KTM factory racing team. Now, what does that do for everybody else? We know Ben signed. So Toth, I know he's got a couple of options from what I've heard. So there's no definite on what's going on there. Could be with the team, could be doing other things, could be staying where he's at. That is yet to be determined. Some of the other things that I'm hearing Stu has been on the show the past. I think the last show we did was with Stu, but Stu is on here pretty regularly. He let us know he signed an agent. He let us know that he is currently talking to teams. Now, where that goes, I'm not sure. And also, because Stu is the co-host of the show, it's kind of hard to talk about the details of surrounding him. But I will let you know that I have not heard any of this from Stu. I purposely try to not ask him too much information outside of the conversations that you all hear, mainly because if he tells me, I'm going to say it. And I don't want to get in that position. But from what I've been hearing, there's a couple different options. Obviously, the Yamaha deal is there. I'm sure after seeing the bump and the success and stuff that Stu has had, I'm sure Yamaha is going to be trying to pretty aggressively keep him, I would imagine. But I know that there are a couple other teams being talked to. So that one is one that's up in the air. I mean, there's really no telling what bike that we could see him on next year. He could be still with the Yamaha team on that blue bike. I think that there was some rumors going around that he might have been talking with Honda. I think it became kind of public that there was interest from Cowie. So right there's 3 manufacturers already, or knowing Stu and getting this management deal, he could try to put together his own team or maybe go underneath a satellite umbrella from one of the satellite teams and kind of piece together all of his own deals with individual sponsorships. So that one is going to be up in the air, but it seems like in order to keep everything rolling as we head into November and the end of the season, that decision right there is going to, I think, weigh in on several other people's decision, meaning that if Stu is talking Yamaha, if Stu is talking to Honda, if Stu is talking to Cowie, that means that there's rides available. And until I think that decision gets made, I think a lot of other decisions cannot be made. Guys like Trevor Bollinger, we know that he is not signed with Rockstar Husky for next year, and he could very well stay with them, or he could very well take either a Cowie ride, perhaps, maybe a Honda ride, perhaps, maybe a Yamaha ride if Stu is not there. There's simply no telling how many different things can fall into place after that, as far as a chain reaction. I mean, you got to think there's limited guys in that XC1 class, and every single one of them has the potential to win. So this is going to be a very tedious offseason for race teams and race team owners and race team managers as they look to continue through here. Now, there are a lot of guys that I haven't heard anything about. Lane Michael, I don't know what's going to go on with his deal. I don't know. He might be signed through next year. Michael Kowski, he's another guy I haven't really heard of, but I've also been hearing that there's a potential for Ricky Russell to end up back on the AmPro Yamaha team. So as soon as you start getting into all this and looking at all the moving pieces, you can really see how much change we could be seeing for the 2023 season. Ricky Russell obviously had success on the Yamaha before. He got his first win on a Yamaha at Snowshoe in 2017. And if he went back there, I think it could be a good fit. He already knows the team, knows the people. It is a new bike than what he rode there, so it'd be a little bit of a learning curve, but I think all the general properties of a Yamaha are probably still the same for him. So, I mean, that could be an option. But then as soon as you look at that, if something like that does fall into place, then that leaves an XC1 bike over at the Coastal Racing Gas team open. So, I mean, it's all up in the air. You got guys like Grant Baylor, who is currently riding a gas. He could end up at any one of these positions as well. We look back to the Rockstar rig. I'm pretty sure Craig DeLong is going to be staying with them. I want to say he might have posted about having a contract through next year. May or may not, but for some reason I'm feeling like I heard that for a definite somewhere. But one of the biggest changes, and one of the ones that I am hearing, which is kind of tough to talk about, this whole thing is kind of tough to talk about without giving up sources, because none of the riders, I will say that, none of the riders have given me any of this information. So that being said, we have a little bit of a tie with the official manufacturer of On the Pipe podcast, Beta Motorcycles. I will also say that nobody from that Beta team has given me this information, but several other people have told me this, to where I believe it to be pretty reliable information that we might end up seeing one of the most seasoned veterans on the front row, Thad Duvall, on a Beta motorcycle next year, which would be a big change, and I think that would be a big shape-up as well. But I think that could also be a very good thing. I know their headquarters are not far from where Thad lives. Their Beta, the race team headquarters in Ohio. So I know that's not too far from where Thad lives, but it also gives him the opportunity, it would give him the opportunity to focus. He would be the one XC1 bike over there at the GNCCs, and Beta's actually coming out with the new motocross 450 next year, so I would imagine that he would be riding something like that. But it gives him the opportunity to kind of get on a new bike and give feedback and see those changes get made and be able to do it close to home. So if that does end up panning out, obviously that would be pretty cool for the Beta brand to have someone like Thad on there. I mean, Thad is a guy going into the last couple seasons and even farther back than that. He's a championship guy. He's a championship contender. Obviously got hurt pretty bad at Big Buck this year with a broken pelvis and a dislocated hip. But he is back from that. He's racing local races, racing some stuff here and there, and getting back into the full swing of things. So we might see him changing, or, like I said, it all kind of goes back to the same thing. He might stay with Rockstar Husky. So there are a lot of things on the table. I hope I was clear enough without being too cryptic or confusing or bouncing around. But it'll be interesting to see how things pan out. Keep in mind, it is just summer break right now. There's still a lot of racing left. There's still a lot of stuff to go on. And there's still a lot of times before everyone has to be signed up and definite. So these are just early things that we're hearing. Obviously, we got XC2 guys that could be bouncing around everywhere. As far as I don't know. Right now, the XC2 points battle is up for grabs, but the white plate currently belongs to Lyndon Snodgrass. I don't see any reason why he would move away from Cowie, but you look at the rest of that XC2 class. I mean, you got a lot of up-and-comers. You got Mason Simmons. You got Gus Reardon. You got Ben Nelko, Evan Smith, Cody Barnes. You got all these guys that have rides now, but also have the opportunity to move up to different rides or factory rides if those become available. So I think it's still way too early on to really talk in any definites, but those are just a couple things that we're hearing early on in the pre-off season. So 4 rounds of GNCC left. I think 5 rounds of National Enduro left. Still a lot of racing left to do. Still got the ISDE that's going to be going on here soon. So it'll definitely be one to keep its eye on. But with that being said, this weekend it is the TKO Enduro. They, as I mentioned before, they're racing down Broadway Street in Nashville. So I think that's a pretty cool concept. So I'm gonna head down there. So if you're gonna be at TKO, hit me up. I'll be out there shooting some videos, shooting some stuff. Apologize for going a little bit incognito, but like I said, really just kind of went on this little exploration and to kind of figure things out, think things through, and figure out where we go from here. This is our 5-year anniversary. I think in 2 days. I think August 12th might have been our first show. But that's exciting stuff in and of itself. And like I said, there's just a lot of decisions to be made on where everything goes from here. But I wouldn't be in this situation without each and every single one of you. So I do appreciate you all listening. And consistency is going to be the key, and it's about time we got some consistency in OTP. I know kind of bounce around a little bit, but I appreciate each and every single one of you for still tuning back in and listening to us and listening to OTP. Hopefully as we go live and do these live in the future, we'll be able to incorporate more fan stuff, get some phone calls coming in, that kind of thing. But I appreciate each and every single one of you for listening. Thank you for tuning in to OTP. Looking forward to having a big week next week and looking forward to getting back to racing and discussing it with each and every single one of you guys. Big shout out to yourselves and also a big shout out to our sponsors that help make it happen. Zach Tussle with Raymond James Financial and Beta Motorcycles. So we will talk to you on Monday. Unless you're going to be down in Nashville, talk to you in person over the weekend. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you.